Good afternoon and welcome to the closed mic session of the Ó Bhéal Winter Warmer Festival for 2021. This is actually always one of my favourite sessions at the Winter Warmer. It's usually the first chance we get to see people who've been regulars for a couple of years actually doing a kind of an extended reading. Takes on a slightly different feel this year due to the C word, which I won't mention. But you're very welcome, both you, those of you who are here physically in the room, and those of you, wherever you are in the rest of the world that I can't see, but I know you're watching and are as excited as I am. We're going to have 11 poets, each of who are going to read for 5 or 6 minutes. 6 is the maximum. At that point, if you go over the 6 minutes, Paul Casey will get out the watering gun and saturate you visibly in front of the whole world. So if I were you, I'd finish within 6 minutes. We're going to start with a lovely lady who is an award-winning poet, but doesn't like that being mentioned, so I never actually said that. Her name is Catherine Ronan.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's a great privilege to be here with Mila Boykas, to Paul Casey and all my friends at Ó Bhéal and all my Zoom friends. It's an honour and privilege to be here today, and I'm delighted to have 6 minutes. I've timed myself, so it's exactly 6 minutes to read for you today. My first poem is in honour of Brendan Kennelly. And when I was half my age, I sent him some poems, and he was generous enough to write back and send me a letter of encouragement. And one of the poems that he especially liked was this one. So I'm going to kick it off with Aristocratic Slaughter. Ashen, ashen, what are ye ashen me for? 'Tis all dem lover sounds down into master grounds. Right jar, sire, and a murder of crows. The next poem I'm going to read is about St. Kevin's, an ex-mental institute in Cork, no longer used. It's called Rubble. Silent mouths, wet hush, just the tinkering of trays, lost stories, red brick mines, smoke-filled roof, tiny teacups of secrets in the rubble of the madhouse. They knew me well. I knew them better. In the butter of my potatoes, I knew everything. Next poem is, the subject is mother and baby homes. It's called Earth Reveals. Stuffed me, throat and ears, with earth, but I sang beyond choking, a seed buried deep to regrow through cracked ribs, quiet limestone bricks, ivy never silent, houses breathing secrets. I have a name, even if it was whispered to me only once. We're moving on to Desire now next, and this poem is called Healer. Take this squinting kitten, stroke into full fur feline, raise me from the shale grave of bedridden days. Take these shards, anoint with gold, vesseled transformed, more beautiful than original sin. Take me in your swollen arms, show me the moon, silver pools of magic. I am the sea. Take my face, whisper, rainbow after rain, create circles to complete, new language. Healer, I am woman, heal me. Now, this next poem I'm very happy to present to you because it was conceived in Paul Casey's class in UCC. It had a 2-year gestation, and it was birthed yesterday at Molly Toomey's workshop. So thanks to Molly, Colin Scully, and all others who were there. So it's called Black Eagle. We gallop as one over yesterday's land, nostrils flaring, riding tailwinds, grass and dirt rising, but no blood today. Take me bareback into ancient ritual, unbridled mystic of the wild, thrashing and roaring dark seas, crossing fast and furious white water. Straddle, black eagle, cry out of that ravenous place we once called ours. I hear you whisper, speaking to my saddened soul. I see you, witch, gasping in all your purple glory. Tell me, what news of home? Sing to me of tomorrow. Now, this is written about Barrack Street in Cork, and it's called The Gallows. Evening births unloading a shoal of iridescent souls. Heave, heave, full net of heathens. French kissing, shabby doorways, hens rising. Life and death hold hands here without a question. Ting, ting, anvils, clip, clop, blocks, laughing cobblestones, hairy coopers, smiling blacksmiths. One last drink. Glass red candle holders, flickering conversations. I inhale medieval Cork, a river of tongues, on my way to crackling women, gallows in the air. I've been here before. My last poem is called Red and White Bones, and it celebrates Cork. I am a Corkoian after all, so I think I have the right. Red and White Bones. Butter a barraca pan a home, ham from O'Donovan's for me man. Pick the plumpest chicken in the window, says me nan, with all the other headscarves. Coats with deep pockets, lee full of trolleys, grand parade of first dates. I lick my lips. Love outside City Hall ignites 50 years. Dickerstown Inn turns the angel upside down. Bodiga jazz sweats through white bricks. Sounds rise from the marsh of ancient rock. South Mallow wash with merchant ships, laden with fruit for cutbreaks. Tripe to Sheen, kidneys, liver, Irish Colcare, English market. Elizabeth Fort keeps secrets of stolen ribbon, women sent to roast in a different world. Charlie the Bog sings the boys of Firhill. Murphy is still in a glass of his own. Donkey jackets play red and white bones. This is Cork Boy. Welcome to the moon.
Thank you, Catherine. For those of you from Cork who don't know where Barrack Street is, it's because it's called Barraca. Barrack Street is its real name. Now, just a couple of things that came up there I forgot to say when you're reading from this microphone. You just try and stay as close as you can. It's not picking up great when you're a little bit further back from it. And to the person in the room whose phone received the text message, thank you very much. I never ask people to either put it on silent or airplane mode, or the ideal scenario is to switch it on. It'll happen from time to time. If you have a mobile phone, please take a couple of seconds there to put it on silent or airplane mode or switch it off so that we don't have too many interruptions over the rest of the session. Now, we're going to go online into, I don't know, Zoom world or some world that's not this world here physically in this room. All I know is that the next reader is Brendan Mulcahy, and that Paul Casey will do all the technical stuff, and I just have to ask you to enjoy his 5 or 6 minutes of poetry. Are you with us, Brendan? It's like the Eurovision.
It is, yeah. Yes. Hi, Stan. Good to see you, and greetings from Wimbledon to everybody enjoying the winter warmer in Cork. Summerhill, summer 1959. Painting the Paddy sign, Brendan Farrelly's dad sways on his cradle, high above Minto's Alsatians. We're on the north side now, in Granny's house, overlooking the docks and the station and the stables of the drays. The money's all gone, but the view is stellar. Mr. Mullaney lodges, toasting his feet on the fender, nodding off. He's a commercial traveller, gives me 6pence to sort his worksheets. Mill Street, Mitchelstown, Macroom, Mallow, Fermoy and Kanturk. His life, a North Cork Odyssey, a William Trevor Book of Days. I was born in Cork in 1951, and our family moved to London in 1959. My first collection, Here and There, reflects on this move. This is a poem called Me, Jesus. Brendan, would you be Jesus today? Sister Maria had sheltered me since the Innisfallen crossing, and the boat train had translated me to my North London primary. Now she'd thrown me to the dogs. I'd had my hand up to be picked, secure in the knowledge that I wouldn't be. We had sung in class at St. Patrick's in Cork, but classroom drama was the thing unknown. I couldn't move or speak or think. Encouraging cries of, "Go on, you can do it," fell on deaf ears. I froze. No attempt was made to unfreeze me. "Stefan, would you?" And in seconds, qualm-free, streamlined Stefan was up on the desk, dispensing loaves and fishes to a grateful multitude. Lurking behind the blackboard, some weeks on, my motivation found, in a non-speaking role, I helped to mug the Good Samaritan. Thank you, you're kind. In London, my sister and I discovered we had a German aunt unknown to us previously. We couldn't pronounce her name, so in the title of the poem, we called her Eaglebird. Uncle Michael's wife was Eaglebird. They lived up the Met line from us in Swiss Cottage, maybe Finchley Road. We never met. Black Sheep Michael had led Dad astray, the story went. The suitcase that got nicked at Paddington, the saved up 80 quid they blew on drink, the shiftless exile in a crummy flat. The link was cauterized and life went on. Back from university one time, I was taken to meet him at his bedside. He was still a handsome rogue and told me I was too. Hard to believe he'd be gone in a week. I took to Ingeborg and never saw her again. I've used some lines from, again, thank you so much. As I say, the book is called Here and There, and it has a little 4-liner, which sort of sums up the feeling of migration. Our ship awaits below and we must go. All else ends here. From now on, we shall speak of there. And I've borrowed a little quotation from Seamus Heaney's great poem, Postscript, as an epigraph for the collection. I'm sure you know the reference to his Here and There reference. I hope he'll forgive me for the following poem, where he gets, I think, a very honourable mention. How we spent August 2013. We called the printer Seamus after Heaney died in August of that year. One out, one in, so it goes. We'd been in New York City, bought Human Chain in the Strand bookstore on Broadway, a cheapskate black spot copy, shame, returning to learn of our loss. And in the Cube, the Apple store on 5th, we took the plunge and bought a MacBook Air. $1,000 and more, an unexpected spend, but proven justified 7 years on now with OS Catalina doing the job, hand in hand with Seamus to produce poems. And I'm going to finish, great audience. I'm going to finish with a recent poem about how my parents met. They took more than ironic delight in having bumped into each other on St. Patrick's Street on the 3rd of September, 1939. This is the day the war started. The story goes, it's the 3rd of September, and no such undertaking has been received. England opts for war again. In Cork, they await the Innisfallen's return from Fishguard in the land of dreams. They're fog-bound, and the ship is overdue. Crowds gather on Patrick Street. The Lusitania bubbles up in minds and mouths, lost off the old head of Kinsale, and the Titanic had last seen at Cove. I see you near the Savoy after Mass at St. Mary's. You're 23, he's 24. What fatal friction joins you? He surely raises his hat to the pretty girl from the north side, and you find yourself listening. He speaks softly. With no phone numbers to swap, the fascination holds. Did he meet you next under Egan's clock? The boat back and the world in shock. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Brendan. Where the north side got a mention there, and the south side got a mention earlier on, so everything is good in Cork. No, come on. No. Who have we got next? Oh, yes, yes. So, the next lady I could say lots of things about, but I won't. I'm just going to say that for Mary O'Connell, 3 is the magic number, which is why she's 3rd on today.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Dan. And particular thanks to Paul. It's a wonderful opportunity and I'm very grateful. I have 3 poems. The first one is called Vagaries of the English Language. A cliché is a handrail for the crippled mind. Resorting to it puts you in a double bind. If I stop being pensive, am I then expensive? Does saying bugger off make me sound too offensive? Could I face prosecution for slander and libel to end up in court where I'm holding the Bible? When you face litigation, you soon get the message. You go in as a pig, but come out as a sausage. Some words can be twisted to mean the reverse, so that things seen as better turn out to be worse. Inside a shop window, highlighting each letter, eat our special cured ham, you'll never get better. And talking of meat, things are not black and white. Nothing's right in my left brain, nothing's left in my right. If I ask you the question, it may make you wince. Was Meatloaf the artist we once knew as Mince? There was once a film critic who on its release said that Let There Be Blood was a period piece.
The crowd he hung round with enjoyed smoking weed. He listened to Hendrix and even Lou Reed. An envious neighbor who wanted his iPod tries to press hashtag to summon the drug squad. Francis Bacon reserved for his real friends champagne, but was careful to offer his sham friends real pain. In conclusion, the language has so many layers that words cause confusion, like multiple snares, so that puns, though inventive, may not hit the spot, as in Trotsky was laid in a communist plot. The next poem is a little bit more sobering. It's called Losing Control, and many of us felt that this happened over the last 2 years. Always sure to find your bearings as you sailed from port to port. You enjoyed the freedom of the waves, trusted to the winds. Now your one sleek vessel is yanked from chartered lanes, cast adrift in shifting weather, no automatic pilot for a guide. No one there to help you hold the catch, grasp the tiller when rocked by squalls. All you can do is batten down the hatch while riding out the game of pitch and toss. Reduced to a pocket compass, you strain to scan the skies, hoping to make landfall before dark. Find at least one straggler on the quays, a soul to grab the painter when your boat comes alongside. Will terra firma offer you relief? Or like the Flying Dutchman, will you never be at peace? As phosphorescence streaks along the deck, through scales and twisting fishhooks, the dog star casts its shiver on the sea. And finally, on a lighter note, brazen bonking Boris. Boris Johnson's antics are easy to condemn. A manic self-promoter who has now become PM. Theresa May have sent him off to brush up on foreign affairs, unaware that he'd reduced so many wretched girls to tears. Soon Petronella Wyatt and Helen McIntyre were embroiled in the transgressions of this now notorious liar. When he tried to count his children, there's a few that he could miss. The tabloids had a field day with headlines such as this: "Bonkers Boris made me pregnant." Does he worry? Not at all. This British Berlusconi continues to walk tall. When fired from the Times and later the Spectator, he showed himself, against all odds, a consummate debater. More times he broke his nose while on the playing fields of Eton. His hefty rugby player keeps refusing to be beaten. His success as Mayor of London cannot be denied, taking credit for the city bikes that Berkeley had provided. A brilliant Oxford scholar who was captain of his school, despite his many attributes, he likes to play the fool, shambolic and disarming, with a mop of floppy hair. The sly old fox is lurking underneath the teddy bear. For short, they call him Bojo. It's handy for a tweet, but many have compared him to a Dulux dog on heat. He rallied Tory members with his "Let's get Brexit done." But with trade negotiations, he may have jumped the gun.
Thank you, Mary. It's always interesting when people write about politics and they remain true for ages and ages and ages. I'd imagine you could be reading that poem 50 years from now, and it would still be an accurate reflection on that man. Anyway, that's just my train of thought for the moment. Next up, we're staying with the ladies and we're staying with the M's. We are going to have Margaret O'Regan.
Yeah. Thanks, John, and thanks very much, Paul Casey, and everyone in Ó Bhéal. The first poem I have is called Céad Míle Fáilte, and it refers to direct provision and treatment of migrants in Ireland in general. And for those who are listening that are not from Ireland, Céad Míle Fáilte is a term used by our tourist board, and it means 100,000 welcomes. This is said in irony, of course. Céad Míle Fáilte. In this land of Céad Míle Fáilte, holding pens have been called for, cattle herded to slaughter of Damocles' order. Cameras charged and recorded, ready to pounce and pronounce. Go back where you came from, Céad Míle Fáilte refrain. Remains rounded up, condemned and deported from this land of Céad Míle Fáilte to another fled from slaughter. Bounced like a football, boomeranged and shanghaied, dropped from the air a parcel of despair by the rulers of Céad Míle Fáilte, who forget that we will not forget bully bureaucrat bile, that we shall continue to fight, call an end to deportation flights from this land of Céad Míle Fáilte. Thank you. This one is called Wolf Whistle, and it refers to the appointment of Judge Wolf to the Supreme Court following his breach of the COVID rules, and I think it'll be fairly self-explanatory. He's still on the Supreme Court, but it's very doubtful that he will ever preside over decision-making at a very serious level that would have implications for the residents of this country. It's called Wolf Whistle, and it's W-O-U-L-F-E. The wolf is glued to his chair, his seat not yet overthrown. From the four corners bustle, wigs and gowns rustle, finding against the golf gate hustle. The chief has just served a missive, writ large to remove the wolf whistle, but the wolf is still glued to his chair. He swears he won't bow to peer pressure, lolls in his chambers at leisure, supremely supine in face of decline, no notion of what is in motion. From beyond his lofty dominion, round the four corners, public opinion. This one is called Empathy, and for any of you that have, I suppose, been involved in a child's life from birth up to adulthood, whether it's a neighbour's child or a member of your own family, I think somebody will know someone that this will relate to. And it's called empathy. To look outside oneself, to move outside oneself, to see society's monster as a human askew, a human I knew from day one anew. To watch, rejoice, celebrate, participate, all the steps of your life through school and beyond. To look and not see, to know and not know, the demons inside you,
the urges outside you, the demon possession, not sought, not chosen. Now, this one is called Escapism, and during the first lockdown, I was self-isolating before I got my vaccines. And what I did in order to converse with people was I front garden drinking tea, hoping that somebody would stop and have a chat with me. And one day I saw a man passing by and I was just watching his gait and the way he walked and the way he moved and everything, and this poem occurred to me. It's called Escapism. As I sit on the lawn, I see your sinuous form, sashaying, hips swaying while you stroll my way. I know you don't know me, but a tale I have woven has me plucking your form to inhabit my dream dorm, to capture your essence and have your indoor presence, to unveil and reveal your erotic appeal. Your rippling muscles cause my knees to buckle as my eyes explore, sexualizing for more. Your dexterous hands play havoc with my glands, releasing hormonal flushes, emitting rapid-fire gushes. I wonder if you sense, as you pass by my fence, what fantasies you've emboldened, what scenarios you've unfolded. Now, am I near the 6 minutes? This will be the final one. So this is called distanced loving, and it's what a lot of us were doing when we were self-isolating. Distanced loving, suffused with longing during COVID lockdown, bereft of your touch, pent up lover's lust. To find a solution to this frustration, sexting and surfing is now our station. Many months imagining mind-blowing scenarios, orgasmic virtuoso in cyberspace nova. Having images of archived adventures, of words softly spoken, of senses. As we replayed sessions from erotic recesses, unearthed from our minds, we scaled new heights. A lifetime of fantasies exchanged and enacted, unbounded passion in hedonistic fashion. Veritable sexperts we've become, a sexual portfolio we have begun, undiluted erotica stream stored in the iCloud of our dreams. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. I got a flurry of text messages from the men in the room when you were ringing that second last call there. They just, a few men in the room wanting to have your address asked, your house, and you might put pen to paper and describe what they do for you. Thank you very much. Now, we're going back to the Eurovision.
Just drop it a bit.
Yeah.
Let's see your face.
Okay. That's probably a good thing, Paul. So where are we going next? We're going to Matt Mooney, what part of the world is Matt in again? No? Okay, we're going to the Eurovision, but we're not sure who's voting next. But we do know the votes are coming in from Matt Mooney. Are you with us, Matt?
Yeah, ready. Thanks for inviting me to your winter warmer. I'm delighted to be with you from Listowel. Unforeseen. A glimpse of you on the street, and you write on the blank pages of these in-between times of mine. Always the unforeseen, these lightning flashes striking to stop me short. For seconds I am drawn to your face, your dark hair, your glowing skin, our magnetic fields merging with this proximity, our planets eclipsing, aspiring against all the odds, swimming against the tide. wishing I could press pause to see you for a few seconds more. A heavenly body in motion, fading away in the galaxy of my illusions. Swan delight. These are the dark days of the winter, short and stormy. The wind and the driving rain rebuff the flowerless firs. The sycamore and the beech that were so fair out there stand bleakly staring into space, uncertain of their fate. And I'm thinking of the swans and the bog of Balnagar. They have never left my mind, come rain or come shine, ever since three cygnets grey swooped above my head, over the rusty metal bridge that spanned the broad river. All three flew low and wide around, and then they landed downstream, with muffled whoops of cygnet swan delight. Heads held high in the air, graceful as the Viking ships at sea. They were close to me, where I was the undercover man. My water skiers, with loud whirring of their musical wings, skimmed along the surface of the river to westwards fly to their chosen spot where they could swim alone, apart. At that, I felt a twitch of loss to think of mine gone far away. But one evening from the road I saw them all assembled, all a-gaggle in a green bog field beside the flowing river. Seeing 5 more fly in to land, the rest below paraded, their chanting windpipes all in tune in a place deserted. Now we come to my latest collection, Steering by the Stars, and I'll read you 2 poems from that resemblance. The first one, Resemblance. Contentedly I shaved before the mirror on a cruise liner on the Baltic Sea. And I remembered how my father loved it when I did the same for him on Saturdays in his latter years with his filly shave. While he followed the siding run of his shaver, smiling satisfaction in that old mirror by the front window above the table, directing the operation with odd grimaces, making comic faces, easing the razor's root. A gang of garden roses looking in to boast of their brilliance from flower passions spent by my mother. Flashes of passers-by arousing our curiosity on our country road through the Leylandi. Now I see his contours in mine from the years it's taken to be like him, cruising to Copenhagen. One from the city of Cork, out the Western Road. The doorway of love. Off the Western Road, chilled by Siberia. They were settled down in a deep doorway, himself further in, sitting back in the inside with a bit of a tash and an air of authority. Herself more to the fore, to do any talking and to show they were looking for money. At the door of a store long since shut shop after the burst and business had finished, some pockets and hearts of passers-by outpoured for their poor and the perished, cast aside on this fierce February morning, heavily wrapped in the fight to keep warm. Hot on the phone to stop them from dying, to beg a place for the hungry and homeless from the top floor of the Lancaster Lodge. With snowstorms forecast, shelter was vital. Then with news of my findings, I descended to see my new friends again in the doorway. Just after soup from some kind benefactors, they rejected outright the shelter suggested. They declared they would stay put as a pair, spoke of the love that bound them together, him carrying her books home from school. I was touched by how warm this made them. Gurmil Mahagar.
Thank you very much, Matt, all the way from the Stoll. Apparently there's an application from the Stoll to be part of County Cork. I don't know if there's any truth in that at all. Now, next up we have Mags Creedon.
Okay. Like, right, I've timed in. Thanks very much for inviting us, Ó Bhéal. You're just magic, and Paul for his wizardry of hybridity. And lovely to see Pamela. I've timed a poem and a song for 5 minutes, but I might fit in 1 minute of just spoken word. Once in the West, a day was marked. Many's the match that was hatched after Mass. Many's the glad eye was cast on heavenly ones as tender and pale as the hawthorn bloom. Many's the silent tear was siphoned away and hidden inside in her pocket, bailed out again and poured once more in battered aluminum teapots for one, blackened and lager hot sod. Many's the bramager that clung to the queue, and enunciated in high cantata, milking each word of the glorious syllable. Give you chapter and verse with a wither eye out for slovenly types who might have the temerity to look her in the eye. Many's the fragile face that twitched with smiles of passing clouds and bent to kiss his friend on a lead and fixed his red paisley bandana. Many's the mother that thumped on her craw and begged that the Lord would spare her from all or more of the dolas that wears for today her Sunday best, a necklace of bruises and violet cuffs. Many's the subtext that waits in the wings and silently narrates the truth therein, and each child in their world with no sound prays hard to some God and keeps their eyes down. Then all would be calm once in the West. Okay. Yeah, keep an eye on me there, Paul. Right. I just decided to do two pieces there because we were timing it about eco. And no further ado. Right. Okay. Cardinal signs. Come Aura, come Zeus, come Tulater, come Amanoi, come Zephyrus, come Nuada, Shahum, Shiwi. Invisible star, you came on the wings of the wind, on a wind-borne dove, harbinger of what was to come to her. Bear witness for the cardinal signs. Sorry, no, folks, there's a doctor here where I came out of. Apologies. Bear witness for the cardinal signs. For this girl, for the wonder, for the fatherless mothers, thanks, no permission, no desire. Beg your pardon. Are you the maid of Orleans? In wind I seize your vision, the girl to conquer kings. Your destiny will be to expire in the fire, a pyre not for your sins, but for the glory of La Belle cause. Bear witness for the cardinal signs, for the untaught warrior, for illiterate heroes not brought down, no permission, no desire.
Queen of skies, are you the queen of skies, mistress of the winged winds, from Trepassy to born, who rode northwesterlies without your visor, bear witness for the cardinal signs, for the disappeared, for the spirals of the wind that took you here down into it, Carol at all. No permission, no desire to pass to the power of the winds of Boreas, of Nertus, of Inuus, wind of rose and compass, winds of polar, tropical easterlies, trade winds that blew the ships northeast, horse latitudes that caused the air to stall, where sailors throw their horse overboard, doldrums to sun, doldrums to silent hope and dream. John, you bore witness to 4 angels in 4 corners, holding wings against apocalypse, bear witness for the cardinal mortal signs, against tides that spread, that lose the friend that rode with them, change stories of the wind, with our permission and our desire. Come, Aura, come Zeus, come Aminoi, come Nuada, Shachum, Shtui, God of winds, come now. Okay. Actually, time. I hope the sound works here. No, it's a bit complex. So this goes with the last poem about the erosion of the winds, etc. No. In Tempo Plastico, we are sailing in an ocean in our tiny boats, and each crest raises foam upon our highs and lows, and the seas cling to the planets, and on we go. Lakes become dry wells, and they tell us that the seas will soon begin to swell, and we're rising in the spirals of our own seashells, navigating secret oceans within ourselves. Each day and night the earth spins on itself, horizons disappear behind a darkened shelf. Spinning seasons we revolve around the sun and start to melt, and then again we rebuild and the earth starts to spin again itself. But for Margaret O'Regan, but every day a little revolution as I revolve around the sun. Do I succeed and keep a part of me, or surrender to everyone? When your hero has that fleet of clay, and you find out that you've been done, in your army of one, the battle has begun. Start your revolution. Have I got a right to fight? They call that you said. Well, I did not really feel to steal my world from me. And if I clean, they call that you sin bellow. My hands are gone stiff, lads. There'll be no prisoners, no bloodshed, just a tragic look from me. So respected. But every day, a little revolution as I revolve around the sun. Do I succeed and keep a part of me, or surrender to everyone? Plastico, we are sailing in our ocean in our tiny boats, and each crest raises foam upon our highs and lows, and the seas cling to the planet, and on we go. Sorry, sticky fingers. Okay.
Thanks, Max. Ó Bhéal is about spoken word, poetry and music, and sure Max does it all. It's so easy, isn't it? You just do it all. Oh, no, we went to Kerry a little bit earlier on for Matt. We brought Kerry to the room for Jim Crickard. Just tell me where you want. Just transfer the details.
Hi everyone, and thanks Ó Bhéal, thanks Paul for inviting me. So the first poem I'm going to do is called On Being a Vampiress. And you know, in like vampire stories, whenever they look in the mirror, they have no reflection. So I'm playing with that in this poem, but I've given her a boob job. As the velvet cloak slides off my bone-white skin, my reflection is reduced to 2 orbs of silicone floating. Hollywood's best. With this strange and naked effacement, I find myself obsessed. Like Narcissus, peering into the reaches, forever searching for himself. I cannot see my face in these levitating lakes, but can see the imprints of my fingers when I touch myself. Nightfall, blood moon, the sky aches with menstrual light, spilling on the city of glass and chrome, burning an orange glow. I follow the scent of flesh, wearing my finest burgundy silks, the color of a bruise. I walk through telecom estates. Call centers offer easy prey. Night shifts, insufferable customers. They almost look relieved in blood-splattered headsets. When I bring my final victim before the mirror, he's still entranced by the rapid flashes of my golden eyes. Like the seizure-inducing cartoons they banned in Japan, reflected, bobbing, bouncing these aqueous foreign objects, the blood inside my digestive system, still visible in the mirror, like watercolor snakes, floating, rising, falling, my vermilion crystal guts, my silicone twins. As dawn breaks in a slow spill of Lucozade, loneliness fills my coffee. I fall asleep to the sounds of garbage men reversing, window shutters, pedestrians, whilst my body follows its cycle of turning to dust, leaving silicone resting on the apex of my remains. I listen to the birdsong of a world gone without me. Undecided about the next poem. I think I'll do, yeah. So if you ever heard of the book called The Art of War, I took inspiration from that, like within working in customer service. It's called, I strategize my way through the call, like Sun Tzu in The Art of War, evading the outraged enemy with the stealth of politeness, feigning weakness to entice my foe, to strike complaints like gunfire. When they have destroyed my decoy and feel the arrogance of a false win, I have them right where I want them. The gorilla has entered my temper trap, beating their chests about how we charged an extra 40 cents this quarter. Undetectable as night, I pounce above a barrage of Donkey Kong barrels and rise higher than the heavens to throw the onus like an atomic bomb down on the customer, obliterating them with terms and conditions. Supreme victory is subduing the enemy without fighting. Thank you. I think I can fit this one in. It's called Own Your Roots. Before I say what I'm about to say, I'll need signatures on these NDAs. I'm trusting you with a disclosure, risking an image I've carefully doctored. My deep dark secret is, I am from Kerry. I know, it's hard to believe. I carry a large bag with all of my discarded parts. The Healy Rays, muttering inside about drink driving and denying climate change. In his own words, sure won't God find a way? But those brothers know how to whip votes, promising to fix potholes, Kerry's form of activism. I remember my grandmother getting political at dinner. It's between a box of fags and the roads. You'll find tar in the fags. As I was saying, I carry a large bag with all of my discarded parts. I have fine-tuned my accent to be clean as Newbridge silverware. Around the neck of Anne Doyle, doe-eyed on the scene, wielding an accent clean as cut glass. I don't fumble out extra H's or R's or squish my sentences under a fork. Every word is spoken to be heard. Now and then, whilst having brunch, tracing my finger around the rim of honey nut nougat fudge craft beer, I'll excuse myself for the toilet, slipping on my Kerrygold lies, flat on my arse with a novena of cows, chickens and Healy Rays flying out of the bag. There's mud on my glossy shoes. As I lay splayed in my social faux pas, I begin to think about the wilds of my land. I am a man of the elements, a blessing and a curse, a wild-eyed Celtic fairy fort, Queen Maeve, laying splayed, shale under my left eye, limestone palms, spring water tears. I feel I am beautiful. Monsieur cartographer, draw me like one of your French borders. Build a quarry into my heart and you will find chasms of loving Kerry people. Drill into my belly button and you will find fairy forts, another world in an enclosed space. Cross me or my fairies and we'll bog burst the worst soil creep nightmares all over your dreams. It's overtime.
There is only one Jim Crickard. Thank you so much, Jim. There's a Kerry connection next. We're going to somewhere in Cork. I think that's where Cathal was living when I last spoke to him. But there is should we leave him decide whether he wants to reveal the connection or not? Cathal, are you ready for us?
Can you hear me down there, guys?
There you go. Enjoy, Cathal.
How's the volume? Cool. All right, guys. Hello and welcome to West Kerry. It's a pleasure to be in Cork. This is my dad's handbag factory out here in Dingle, where it's Other Voices Weekend. So I'm going to do one poem, but it's a long one. So we'll come in around 5 minutes. This one is Sacred Geometry. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. It is fantastic being there with you guys. I'm looking forward to being in Ó Bhéal in person again soon. Sacred Geometry. I dreamt of a third of a breath. The kiss before bed must be left. Instead, I make me coffee and one of my t-shirts. It smells like me. I think I'll keep it. At the table, I lay my own place, as though I will walk to the door and say grace. We are grateful for the roofs below us, the depths above. I face the day setting, lay out the arcana, climbed on the roots of the world, disappear into the shadow. A paper dragon eats the light. There pass 10,000 days of night. In the city, worry stones cobble the streets. I set out searching for me. I am a knight errant upon a fool's errand. Grist to the wind and the mills. I sow as I go and so I grow, so wild as my flowers on the hills. Love is a blossom, my tears water humbly. My head full of bees and my heart full of honey. I live to make light of this journey in life. But love is a bosom, a bloom. Look in the east. Snake-wise and road-sick, sore on my feet I am coming. Scented of jasmine and joss, of darknesses slumbering lost, of cinnabar, sulphur and toss, and now quicksilver clicks at my heels. Water is turning the wheel. The sage is at work in the field. He is planting a star in the earth. He lays the core that was bit and discarded to rebirth in the flickering darkness. For asleep grow the seedling and fetus in the five-pointed weaving of Venus, and so I go sowing, mourning each evening the passing of day. For a cup full of moonshine is the milk of the way, on simmering silt of dark and star, on shifting cosmic foam. The sea retreats before my feet, for fools forever roam. And backwards to my sky she leads her procession, anointing my limbs and my brow, braiding in fives on her fingers. By fate we are led, a needle and thread, a seed in its bed, it is so. And the love's but a flower, in a garden much greater than flowers might ever quite know. And our geometry sacred, so kiss it with kismet. Kiss metamorphosis, systole in breath, agape, agony, comedy, tragedy, each living inlet. At depth, under pressure, structures all alter forever. Here is where tears become diamonds. Would you like one? They're worthless. They pour into pools in the forest. They burst into peals of good laughter. They all run away in the gutters. And life is delirious anyway. A fever of sight, sound, and scent. These of the world I become, touching and taste. This is my body and tongue, heartache and sense. And what I feel most is not one or the other, but how it all hangs together. The pull and the give of my personal weather, my physical form in the world, your weightless shape in the void, the breath in the flesh, each to a moment, and this one is next. I eat my breakfast in peace, cutting the strings from the cards, in a glass on the table, about 8 wands of blackcurrant. I will plant them. Not tomorrow, I'm busy, but soon, when I'm ready. At home, in the house of my worship, no smoke ring encircles the serpent. No sage and no salt make my girdle. I am simply holding my center. I rub all the sleep from my dreams. I brush all the tears from the sky. I put the blue back in its eye. I push the moon in right beside. I take down the dry clouds from the line. They will be back in their time. I dreamt of a third of a breath. It came as it left. In a dream I was dreaming. My lovers give teachings of laughter and grieving. Through my pocket, to my chest, I hold my card. The Queen of Hearts. Where I kept her, she has slept. I slip her back into the deck. She will return. It's not a trick. She always does, if you let her go. Not my sleeves a space of hearts. I get up from the table, wash my plate, clean the ace of cups, and leave. I have not told you tragedy's tales. These were my tears. Now they are treasures. I loved them like children, raised them to flight, feathered their wings with my feathers. I am half sad and proud at their going. My gutter garnets who watered my groin. For full soon is a season of me, a chrysalis under relief, a flower growing out of a seed. I am bursting to bloom and to breathe. Thank you very much, guys. Enjoy the rest of the warmer.
Thanks, Cathal. He definitely wins the award for the most interesting backdrop of the day, doesn't he? Without a doubt. No, next up is a lady that has done a huge amount of work for the festival in the background, volunteering, and she's done loads and loads of stuff. Won't get into the detail because it would take a full session to get into the detail. But I just wanted, before I call you to read, Lucy, I want to thank you on behalf of the festival for all the contributions that you've made to this year's festival. So warm welcome to Lucy Holme.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. It's a real honour to be here and amongst such amazing poets and everyone. So thanks for having me. I love Ó Bhéal. So most of my poems are about the ocean because I worked at sea for 13 years, but I've lived in Cork for 8 years now, and this is my homage to the city. So it's called How to Look at a Town. Is that better? It begins with an epigraph from John Betjeman. I heard the church bells hollowing out the sky, deep beyond deep, like never-ending stars. In the half-light, dim windowed houses stand in narrow lanes like fortresses against the air. Hear the hiss of crisscrossed wires overhead, trace the waves past crumbling timber fascia, through cavity walls and mouldering skirting boards, to antique television sets stacked upon VCRs. Take a photo of a sign on a brick wall which urges you to love the leaf. Count the amber street lamps, 1, 2, 3. You pass the church, a pansy congregation gathers, fresh additions creep through concrete, holy buds eager to greet the next day's sun. Wonder while to walk is free and exercise key. And as your feet connect with pummeled stone, stumps, slick oil spots, and tender cracks alike, collate these images for posterity before you're done. You reach the chemist, green and yellow threshold bright, the iron sill and striped awning wound in tight, delicate porches and skewed window frames, decades-old paint peel on rotten architrave. Amble at leisure through the slant city wetland, watch the sky turn pink and then bruised mauve blue. Sit under giant cranes which frame the north-south divide, while elsewhere, in downtown flats and identical suburban parks, people store their smiles at home for now, imprinted with the dictates. We cannot waste this time if there is no more time to waste. The bins are out, lace curtains hang askew, roads are empty this evening of traffic queues. Paused but yet alive, this deep harbour town, in which the cormorant's shriek splits dusk in two. Its heart still beats, though packed in pristine tissue, muscle memory preserved. I love living here. The only thing that's difficult sometimes is the distance from my family, especially during the pandemic. My next poem was written in the immediate aftermath of my father's death from a sudden heart attack. So it was inspired by a song that I heard directly after my mother rang me with the news. So this is Between Your Lungs I Lie. In the car, after the news, the preceding hour of blurry hue, I think of your heart, your poor scarred lungs, my hands balled to fists, a child again. As the engine starts, Between Two Lungs begins, and I hear a songbird soar above and circle back. She brings me the image of you collapsed in my mother's lap. Those whispered words, gasping for breath. Now my own is short, jagged, almost gone, but not gone like you. Who else has gone today? I could check the examiner, but I won't see your name. I'll buy milk and bread, remember to collect the kids, continue with the necessary, the mundane. In the centre, a boy of 18 or 19 asks, "Do you need a tissue, ma'am?" As I throw him Kinder eggs and all of grief's sweet, impulsive trove. I cry, the noisy, choking kind, fumble for my wallet for the words to say, "My dad died today." He looks at me across the till, mumbles, "I'm just so sorry for your loss." Irish people and their death. Chats in the kitchen, solace in the post office queue. Then tomorrow, a new list of names to check through. Send our regards, God rest his soul. At least he didn't suffer, he was a grand old age. I gulped the air in this land that was not yours. Imagine two lungs pink and membranes soft, how your heart cleaved the space between, and hope that I was still within. So lastly, I return to the sea, and it's written in memory of somebody who loved the sea. So this is Teardrop season, it's for Sophie Toscan-de-Plantier. Sheep corralled by cliffs, cloistered in furrowed land. Your footsteps echo on white glossed steps, nightgown gossamered by the fastnet's steady beam. It blinks slowly, wakes waves, revolves and illuminates the trellised rust-red earthen boughs. You settle in your comfort while wind keeps windows permeable with age, book open where it fell late last night, corners folded back, in repose, eyes closed. You are back in Paris, on the roof of Saint Eustache, pushing strands from your eyes as the camera clicks to frame your freckles, forlorn ghost. You spun a house. Their hands clutch phones, keys, grasp the handle, clocks stretch, then stop. They start in sleep, falling, reach across the years, but you slip away. There is no earthly beauty bold enough to flaunt. Yours does not scream, can only whisper. There are no secrets that can remain hidden for all time, buried in the sweep of terrain. No decision made between tenderness and force. In your sweet dreams, you just exist, free to move, Atlantic, contemplative. Wrap your arms around a hostile land, a signal like a small kid, lanolin tussled, shining dot de lion. Sleeves snagged on briars, moonlight raton stripes of the land, green ivy fingered. The shale holds you still while they wait for truth to disentomb.
Thank you so much, Lucy. Thank you so much indeed. I spent a lot of time at sea myself. We might have a chat later on. Then again, we might not. It brings back good memories, but there's horror stories in there for me as well. But anyway, enough about me. We're going to now introduce Cédric Bikond to the microphone.
So I will have two pieces. The first one is called Pitch Black. It was written, but I never read that one for an event regarding diversity. Pitch Black. How do you expect to be seen when cloaked in darkness? You need to carry your light. Through the labyrinth of life, accept that others, blind until it is too late, will bump into you. Make bruises that will remain hidden by your very nature. You all walk through many nights until you see dawn. Then start a new strife. Strange ballet of existences in human fate. Testing everything that makes you you. Dig, bring out the best and the worst you can nurture. The only matter is how thick is your leather. There is no white and black after dark. Only those who still stand after a fight. If you still have your heart, lower your knife. Be a beacon. Don't be ashamed to bake the good in others, to feed and grow it, and yourself, until you mature. Rise and turn so bright, the night is no more. So bright, there is nothing to fight for. So bright, they realize neither black nor white is a color. Rather, only hearts wrapped in shame and life yearning for honor. That one was written, well, as an inspiration, like probably most of us here, we've felt through this. So through the pandemic and everything. I'm not sure I actually read that. It's titled Part Throat. I could feel a drought between us, through the mask that keeps us well, covering the mouths of our wells. I can still hear around the sounds of others of ours, though now muffled, and sometimes not. Echoes, screams, something sounding different. Struggles, fears. In this dry spell of death, I've learned to appreciate my own smell. And away from my peers, drunk and almost drowned, to discover the abyss of my own depth. Now I miss you, safely distant, thirsty for those smiles I can no longer see, but quenched from the memories that swell from the mirror of your soul. And today, I can draw from you again and store it in my beating flask, the one water that we always see and trickle through the mask. The spring of resilience, hoarse voices through our parched throats, mending our connections like a strong spell. Bring the moist back to my hardened layers. With you, I can grow again.
No, thank you, Cédric. Thank you very much. I was waiting for another one, actually, and it caught me by surprise. But anyway, that's another story. We've had 10 wonderful poets. We've got one left to go. We're going all the way to the United States of America for the last poet. No votes for the Eurovision from the United States. With lovely words from Pamela Campbell. Are you with us, Pamela?
It's good to be with y'all in Zoom. I hope one day to be with you in person. But thank you very much for this opportunity. I have two poems for you. One is very tiny, and then the second one's a bit longer. Buttermilk, sweet onion. Buttermilk, sweet onion tellings. Slender woman, my Maymal, just shy of 5 feet. Was a lot of tall in her, poker faced her way into an all-night, high-stakes 5-card stud game, toddler in tow, to collect my daddy Paul. Her fist hand hard shoved in apron pocket. Time to come home, Ott. Burly miners jumped, chairs tumbled, Daddy Paul folded. Okay. My next one is Witness. Witness, you're along a tidal river where I witnessed your birth and named you Whisper. So when I call Whisper, your 4-point antlered head lifts, your liquid brown eyes to my hazel, sacred hold, salt marsh bounded in its seasonal shift from bright green to gold. It's been 17 months since you sack-slipped red-brown body from womb to coarse sand, your first ground. Summer sun-sparkled marsh, your slender legs splayed, Spots lay like a blanket on your torso and flanks. You found teat and suckled, held in mama's face. She clinged and nudged your newborn newness from her to higher ground. You bursting into Spartina grass, cupped ears tucked close, tight to tiny head. I worried that day when she belly rested in birthing place, eyes closed, exhausted, while you disappeared on a path used by bobcat. Soundless stealth. Yours swelled Spartina grass, mine seeded rogue cells. But that summer that birthed you held me. Surgery and radiation weary, medication dizzy, but determined to spot you, I pushed, grew stronger. My body became mine again. And now, today, I see the despair of a wound, blooming blue-red below your tarsal gland, hind leg twice its normal size. Yet your swollen skin is intact, closed fracture and no infection. I consider calling wildlife, but here you are, breathing easy, calm grazing. You survived the culling harvest by habitat robbers. How can I betray you to the rifle? I move when you move, broad neck strokes, chestnut change to winter color. Your lips low, ground forage, nibble and crunch, acorns, mushrooms, bark. Thicket dense we walk, you favoring your left leg, me favoring my left side. Radiation ravaged, injury raw, rib and chest. Does your wound burn like mine, whisper? What I would say into the cup of your ear aren't words, but the sound when two humans have no words for each other. The sound woven into the sound of crying, almost like a hush, not a hushing away shoe, a soft shh, shh, shh. The sound I've had people do to me in desperate times of my life, pure presence, true treasure, that draws weary head to rest on shoulder, eyes closed, sorrow shared. When I struggle, as I do now, I draw shh, 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 sounds from memory, but I can't rest. I have to be vigilant. Body compromised like you, we are predators' prey. What I would say when words come, look at you, hurting maybe even more than me, both of us watching tide ebb, both of us in a leaving place. Twine your neck with mine, like you once did with your mama, little mischievous tail tugger, now grown tall. You can rest now, whisper, you can rest. Science does not know why a bone heals or why cancer lingers in some and leaves others, allows breathing space for us to miracle. Thank you.
Sorry, can you start again there? You were muted.
Thank you, Pamela. That brings us to the end of the closed mic session. I hope you've enjoyed it. We've had, let me look at this here, 54 minutes of poetry. Well, if you take out my time, probably somewhere around 49 minutes of top class entertainment. I'm just a filler in between the talented people that are here today. So can I just start by thanking our 4 international contributors. I don't know Dingle and Listowel are not exactly international, but it sounds very extravagant when I say our international contributors. So thanks to Matt Mooney, Cathal Holden, Brendan Mulcahy and Pamela Campbell. Thank you very much indeed. And just on a side note, I'm a massive tennis fan. It's interesting to know that Brendan's living in Wimbledon. That might be handy to know someday. Now I'm struggling to find the list. I don't know what I've done here. 1 second there now. Because if I don't have the list, I'll forget some of them. I'm sure. Maybe we'll try with it. So for those who are here in the room, thank you to Catherine Ronan, Mary O'Connell. You can clap yourself, Catherine. Go on. Catherine Ronan, Mary O'Connell, Margaret O'Regan, Jim Crickard, Lucy Holmes, Mags Creedon. Am I missing somebody? Am I? Cédric. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you to those who come to listen both here in the room and on the, whatever that thing is, the internet stuff. There's no event is the same without an audience, so thank you so much giving your time and your ears and your attention. Is always wonderful when it's an attentive audience. There is a book stand. There are some poetry books available. The money goes directly to the poets. They're all starving artists. That's how it works. So if you have a few bob, we'd appreciate it. Thank you so much. We'll see you for the next session of the Winter War. Thank you again.